You know, Stacy, I've learned that purpose doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it invites you to pivot.
Hi, I'm Stacy Merida, and this is Dr. John Stanko. And in this first episode of Pivot on Purpose, Dr. John and I talk about how our lives and work came together, why purpose is a great equalizer, and how faithful pivots made without full clarity shape a life of meaning.
So if you've ever wondered whether purpose applies to you or whether it's too late or too early to realign, this conversation is for you. Dr. Stacy, let's get started.
Let's get started.
Well, hello there. My name is Dr. John Stanko, and this is my friend and collaborator,
Dr. Stacy Merida.
And we are so delighted to have you here with us for this Pivot on Purpose podcast. And Stacy, it is just such an honor to be with you and have a chance for us to tell our story together.
Dr. John, thank you. And I say the honor is all mine. So, thank you.
Now, I know we've got some script and some things we want to cover, but you just came back from a really special event. Tell us where you were and what it was like to be there.
Sure. Well, yeah, I don't know what time of day it is right now, but I just returned from Los Angeles after attending their Grammy Awards.
Oh, wow.
And it was absolutely incredible. I got to see some incredible artists and meet some industry people that I haven't seen in quite a while. Mm-hmm. But it's always so much fun.
So this was not your first that you've attended?
This is not my first.
I mean, how do you get an invite to something like this? This is, I think, part of your story and what we'll be talking about over the weeks and episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There's a little bit of exclusivity there. You have to be a member of the Recording Academy, which I've been since 2001, and you get an opportunity to purchase tickets, and so that's kind of how that works. Mm-hmm. And it's really a first come, first serve. You have to kind of sit at your terminal, a few minutes before they go live, because in about 30 seconds, they're all gone. Mm. Yeah.
But so you were able to get in?
I was able to get in.
And then you squeezed in time for us to be doing this.
Absolutely. I mean, to have this opportunity with you, my mentor, to sit down and talk about purpose and pivoting and why it's so important in everyone's lives, you just have to do it. If I had to walk back from LA, I would have. Yeah. It wouldn't have been at this time, but for sure. It's that important.
Yeah. Now, pivot on purpose. Pivot is an important word for you, and that's why we've chosen it for the title of this initiative that we are starting. So talk to us a little bit about pivot and why you would choose something like that.
Well, I have to say, when I think of the word pivot, I think of kind of being on your toes, and you may be headed down one direction, but something can immediately grab your attention and say, nope, we need to redirect. So you have to pivot immediately, whether it's in business, whether it's a life calling situation, or a thought process of I was headed down one way with this thought, but something challenged me in that area, and so I had to pivot to maybe another train of thought or another direction in this sense. So pivot, I've seen back, as I look back over my life, I've seen that I've had to pivot quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Nothing was static.
Yeah. So pivot's your word and purpose is kind of my word. And so it was 1991. I was in Pismo Beach, California with people that we are mutual friends, and they were doing weekend seminars, music seminars, and I was a non-musician, so they asked me, well, you shouldn't just sit around, you should be teaching a workshop too. I said, well, what am I going to teach? These are all musicians. They said, well, didn't you have anything in leadership? I said, well, I do have something in leadership. So it was then that I taught a seminar, Effectiveness, Finding Your Life's Purpose. I thought, Stacy, I was going to do it once and it would be over with. Well, first, even before that, I was convinced nobody was going to come because, they were all musicians, and I'm talking on purpose. But they came. and people wept. I mean, it was because I talked about, why are you here? What were you created to do?
Mm-hmm.
And, up to that point in my career, I had made a lot of people cry, but never, seldom for the right for the right reasons. But I knew I had hit something. I had struck the mother lode, and so we went from there to Fort Worth, Texas, and I taught it again, and it was even better received, and we went from there. I can remember it all. We went to Middletown, Ohio,
Okay.
and people received it there. And then we started to go internationally.
Wow.
And I thought, well, maybe this is an American thing. Maybe this is a Western thing. And so, but I taught it in Australia, New Zealand, and Asia, and the UK, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so the purpose is an important word for me, as it is for you. But pivot is too. When you've introduced that word to me in now in my vocabulary, I'm thinking there's not a lot of work on pivot out there. There's not a lot of discussion, but this is so real. This is so relevant. And of course, then your situation, like you said, where you have pivoted many times. So we're going to get more into that as we go on. But now you went back to 2001. I went back to 1991. But then someplace in that realm, you and I connected.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the connection.
Oh, wow. It was back in Mobile, Alabama.
Mm.
I think I started there around 91 and met you there. You were there with the nonprofit arm of the company that we were with. And
that's who I was traveling with.
oh, yeah. Doing a lot of international travel.
A lot of international. One year
Yeah.
I was gone 37 weeks
Oh, my
of the
gosh.
year. So I've been married 51 years. People say to my wife when they get to know me, how can you live with him? She says, I don't have to. He's never
He's
here.
never
God has made a way where there seemed to be no way. But anyway, we were working loosely under the same umbrella
Yeah.
for the same organization.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's how we connected. So
Yeah.
tell me more.
Well, I remember we were having, I think, a leadership meeting, and you were doing your thing, and you said some things that just struck me because I had a plan for my life, thinking I want to do this, I want to do that, and felt very confident about it. But you said some things that were key. And I remember wanting to meet with you afterwards. Well, first I thought it was a comedy session because you have such an incredible sense of humor.
Yes, I am funny,
You do.
aren't I? Yes. So.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So it's like, can we meet? And we did. You were so nice to spend some time with me. And you just started asking me questions that really helped me define what my purpose was.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Well, the Chinese say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So you were ready. And of course, we haven't talked until a few months ago. We hadn't talked in 20 years probably. Yeah. But suddenly you reemerge, burst back into my life, a welcome burst of sunshine and energy, and begin to tell me the story of yourself for the last 20 or 25 years.
Yeah.
And it has just meant a lot to me to hear how the message impacted you. But there was a book involved in this too, wasn't there?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the book and
The original book from the 90s?
the original book. Yes.
Can I show you?
You may.
I still
I
have
can't
it.
believe you have
I
it.
still have it. It's a little worn, but it's called I Wrote This Book on Purpose So You Would Know Yours. And you didn't autograph it, but that's okay. Believe it or not, and I have moved so many times for work, but during this summer, I was getting ready to go on vacation, and I'm in one of those pivotal moments, and I said, let me go back to the very beginning. And the book somehow appeared very easily, and I took it on a cruise with me.
Yeah.
And so one Sunday morning, I decided to go to the front of the ship, very quiet, and started reading it. And before I got halfway through, it was like, I wonder if she's still around.
Yeah,
And that's
right,
when I
because the
started
old
my
man,
research.
yeah, so
It's been
he
almost 30
survived.
Yeah, and so it's like everything still applied. Even in this part of my life, it's like I'm still on the quest of becoming.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
that's how we
and the
did
book
that.
has been redone since
Yeah,
then, so
yeah.
there it
Triple in
is.
size there.
But so
Mm-hmm.
you through LinkedIn,
Yep.
you write me, and
Yeah.
I am just amazed to hear from you,
You
and amazed
remembered
to
me.
hear more about the story. So,
Sure.
and again, we're going to get more deeply into this in the weeks ahead. But just a few more points out of those meetings that we had. What
Mm-hmm.
were some of the more salient points? What were some of the things that just reached out and grabbed you, that were Velcro, that
Oh
you
wow.
just stuck, that have seemed to been a part of you since then?
I think the one that has probably been most crucial is what what is it that you are naturally drawn to, or what seems to be attracted to you, that a lot of times we don't even think about or think it's so minuscule, but it can be a defining moment,
Mm,
a defining story of getting you to what your purpose really is. And you said, so what is it that angers you,
mm,
frustrates you? And that question had never been posed to me. And I remember saying, well, when things are just not together,
mm,
chaotic, and you kept asking questions, well, what do you do about it? What do you find yourself doing naturally? It's like kind of organizing, putting things together. And we kind of looked at, this is kind of like an administrator,
mm,
And so out of that, it was so simple. You just said, oh, it sounds like you bring order out of chaos.
mm-hmm.
And it went click, click. And then as I had that as a foundation, my life has always played out of being called into things that were brand new, startups, and what do you have to do? Develop order,
Mm-hmm.
processes, systems, and it's like, oh, okay, that kind of came easy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stacy, this is what we want to be reinforcing with our listeners and
Mm.
viewers, that purpose is very often so second nature. You just look right past it. You're looking for something more dramatic, or something like a nice paragraph. I exist to
Mm-hmm.
help animals, and and nothing wrong with helping animals,
Right.
and protect the environment, and do good, and be nice, and love my parents, and all that's true, but it's not very
Mm.
inspiring. And
Mm-hmm.
so it is so often that I've just tried to help people look at what's obvious.
Mm.
I was just in West Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, when I'm staying with another team, we were there, and they all want to talk about purpose. And when by the time we left, everybody had a purpose statement, but
Wow.
it was so basic for them. It was so simple. Yet they came back a day or two later, said that was so profound. That was so deep. And I wasn't even sure exactly what we talked about, but it was just so obvious. One had huge compassion.
Mm.
And you think, well, anybody would have that kind of compassion to see children who are hungry or
Mm-hmm.
what. But no, hers was unusual, and it motivated her to do something. Her husband, a facilitator,
Mm-hmm.
always here, let me help you, always looking to make things easier
Mm-hmm.
as a real estate agent, but just a
Right.
facilitator. And another one had an organization to her country called Bridges, was in the title.
Okay.
We're with a government official. He sees the book, says, oh, stories of bridges are always such special stories. We thought that was. But she said, what do you think my purpose is? I said, well, I think you're building bridges. And she almost fell out of her chair.
Wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
several days later, it comes back to me and says, I can't believe that, but people want me to build bridges to the
Mm-hmm.
various countries
Mm-hmm.
around us.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it.
There you
And,
go.
and it's just, it
It's
never
amazing.
gets old for me. You mentioned anger, what makes you angry, and that's in the context of and not I hate lines at the bank or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But one time years ago, I was watching a documentary on the Taliban in Afghanistan and some of the challenges for women there. I started to cry.
Mm.
Now, I'm not a crier, but I'm watching, I think it was 60 Minutes, and I'm crying. And 4 years later, didn't I get an invitation to Afghanistan?
Wow.
And I went and taught at Kabul University.
Mm-hmm.
So the point that we want to keep bringing back in each one of the sessions
Mm-hmm.
is pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware of your heart. Be aware of what moves you, what tendencies you
Mm-hmm.
have. They all mean something. They're all part of your purpose DNA, and I know you would agree wholeheartedly with that.
Yes. Pay attention to the little things. Yeah,
Yes.
they're not insignificant.
So now we're going to be coming to people, and what's the ideal? If somebody listens to us, watches us, what do we hope they take away? What's the impact of 30 minutes or 60 minutes with Dr. Stacy and Dr. John?
I see it as an opportunity for people sometimes to just reevaluate where they are. There's a lot of that going on right now. As a former professor, I had students that would sit in my office just on the getting ready to get into, as we call, the real world, and helping them to identify and define that. I thought it was just for the newbies, but then I would have other faculty and administrators sometimes would come by and talk to me because of my other position as associate dean, and I was like, no, this is something that's ever going. It's always a becoming process. So for those individuals, sometimes we have to do that self-analysis, and it's not a one-time thing. It's ongoing. And so I hope information that we share will help them to identify those little things that they thought were insignificant and how they could be a part of the bigger picture of their purpose. Sometimes when you are no longer at a particular company or a particular position, you're like, oh gosh, now what do I do? Going back to figure out, well, what is my purpose? Then that might be where you have to pivot and do something totally different than what you were doing.
Yeah, but you're pivoting on purpose.
You're pivoting on purpose.
My
Absolutely.
most asked question in all the years I've taught is, can you have more than one purpose? And I've said, well, finding your purpose can be difficult enough if you have multiple purposes. That would just be too complicated.
Yeah.
But you can have one purpose, but many expressions of that purpose.
I agree.
And so I just used and we both have the same purpose statement where we are creating order out of chaos.
That's true.
But we do it totally different,
Yes.
in totally different spheres, in totally different ways.
Yeah.
One of the things that I share, and it's humorous, is no matter where I am, no matter what airport in the world, no matter what hotel or street corner, people ask me directions. There can be 60 people around me, and people come up and say, excuse me, sir, do you know what gate the flight to JFK is leaving on? Now, I'm as lost as they are. I'm in Heathrow, but I just happen to look at the screen, and I say, yes, it's Terminal 4, and it's gate 75. I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa. Excuse me, sir, where are the restrooms? And I'm thinking, why are you asking me? Why? And, my wife has said, well, it's because you're tall, and that may be a part of it, but it's part of my purpose. I'm there to help. The people are in a bit of chaos. There's potential. There's possibilities there, and I'm helping direct them. So my purpose has stayed the same, but it has caused me to be involved in nonprofit work, faith-based work.
Yes.
I started a publishing company.
Yeah.
I'm an author, but all those I feel consistent.
Yes.
I feel authentic. That I have pivoted, and sometimes on a daily basis, but I am doing the things that I was created to do.
Absolutely.
And so, and that's what was so exciting about your story, because I've heard you do the same thing.
Absolutely.
And
even with industries.
Yeah. But you have been involved a lot in the music industry.
Yes.
Oh, which is so cool.
Yeah. The music and entertainment industry, absolutely. That's been my almost 30-year. My 30 years or more journey. Yes. And then even pivoting into higher education, I still was involved in music and entertainment because now I was teaching it.
Yeah. So you have been a teacher.
Yes, 13 years as a professor.
At the university level.
Absolutely. Yes.
You're something. And
crazy,
so
but it's good.
Well, and young children and a family but you're sane, and you're
well, that's questionable.
I know you handle it all with such grace because you stay in your lane. You are
key.
doing what it is that you were created to do, what you love to do.
Yes.
You are an authentic person.
Yes.
Now, why? Let's talk, and I'll share some of my thoughts. Why would we think it's important for us to work together at this point? I mean, what are we it's there's purpose involved, there's pivoting, there's a lot of things involved. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, for one, you are the subject matter expert. You've been a thought leader in this space for many years.
Yeah, again, going back, I'm an old man, so you can say it.
No, and one that has just been proven. Your methods, your ideals have been proven over and over. So many people have been touched by it, and then here I come, kind of in a sense, the example of it lived. And, with my experience in dealing with creative people from the entertainment industry, always trying to find their purpose. I've got this skill set, not sure what I'm supposed to do. My parents say I need to go get a real job. What do we do with this? What about this skill set? And then I also look at it from a perspective of a gender. I am female, I'm a woman. And sometimes we are great for doing the labor, but we may not be looked upon to do leadership. And I say, oh, yes, we need to be leaders. So if we can equip women as well, I mean, all genders.
Sure.
And then I also take it to another level of marginalized communities.
Sure.
This is how we can really help families be empowered, communities, as well as our entire society. So I think let's kind of hit that button and do a reset and help people in this transitional time right now, because our society is kind of loud. People are asking questions. People are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So how can we help people figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, I think without apology, we want to model something. I mean, we want to model a lot here. I mean, I have joked several times about being old, but a mutual friend of ours, we were just talking before we went on the air, at 81, passed away. And so I'm not going to be around forever. And so I'm looking for people to carry the torch, to take the purpose message, but not the way I necessarily taught it, in a way that's relevant for them. So that's important for me at this juncture of my life. And people who have walked the walk and not just talked the talk. When I was meditating early on the purpose message, I had this thought: men will invite you, but women will hear you. And Stacy, that has been the case wherever I have gone. It has been a liberating message, because the second most question I've ever been asked is, husbands and wives, how do you have one purpose, and how can two purpose exist under one household? It can't happen, so one's going to have to surrender to the other's purpose. And I say, no, that's a hypothetical statement. Find your purpose, and then when you start to walk it out, you'll find a way.
Wow.
So it's important for me, to partner with someone like you, not only your gender, but also your racial composition. I think that we don't have a lot of models of reconciliation, of people who, and we're not together for money. We're together around ideology, around a common mission of trying to help you and others find purpose. So that when you said, would you be involved or would you be interested, I jumped at the opportunity. And
thank you for that.
Yeah, and it's I just think such good things are going to come from it. So let's talk a little bit more about the whole marginalized community. I do a lot of work in Africa, and again, I was shocked to find the purpose message have such a reception, because I found when people had so little control over things, purpose was one thing that was theirs.
Yes.
They could control it. So I had a woman who came to me, I'll say a simple woman, and I don't mean that in any negative sense, but she said, I love to have my hands in the ground which meant she loved to grow things. So I said, well, what do you like to grow? She said, I like to grow vegetables. I said, well, let's start to grow vegetables. So she started to grow hot peppers. She had a little plot of ground, and she would grow her peppers, sell them. She got more land. Eventually, she had a big field, and a company from the UK is buying all her hot peppers.
Wow.
In the world's worst economy at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But just her recognizing, I need to be in nature. I need to be growing things. And suddenly, a woman who was marginalized economically, I believe, did not have a husband, and in Africa that can be a really difficult economic situation. Suddenly, it's not micro-lending where they're giving her $100 for a bike, and there's nothing wrong with that. She finds herself, and suddenly she's an entrepreneur. Suddenly she's a farmer. She's a businesswoman.
Yes.
Do you see the same kind of potential in the situations in our country?
Absolutely. I mean, it's I go back to your purpose is individualized. So it transcends race, gender, geographics, all that. Everyone has an individualized purpose. That's why they were created. And I love sharing with people, you were not an accident. You were not. You're here on purpose.
Right.
So now it's your responsibility to find out what your purpose is. And through purpose, with the example that you just gave, she just thought about growing something.
Right.
But then in her purpose, she becomes this entrepreneur. And now she's no longer marginalized because now she's selling her peppers to another country. That's amazing. So it's like your purpose made room for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's so important that it goes back to finding your individual purpose. And if you stay focused on that, it's amazing what can develop and open up from there.
Yeah, and it's really the two words I talk to people about are what and how. And I think too often we get involved in the how. How is this going to work? How am I going to make money? How is it going to relate to the family, or whatever the question may be? And it's really too early. It's the what is the most important thing, and that's what we want to help people find. What's your what? The how, then we can move on to the how. But you haven't had any trouble expressing the how. What you found the what, and the how. The doors have opened up for you. I say I'll be 76 soon. I have never been unemployed, not for 5 minutes. I don't even have a resume. I've never had to go looking for purpose. Purpose always comes looking for me.
Yes.
Now, whatever your faith expression, whether there's a higher power or the universe or God or however you would term that, if they have assigned you a purpose, they must want you to know what it is.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, how can you do it? So it's not like you're alone in the search, in the seeking. And for us, certainly, we have felt, can I say, divine inspiration in pursuing a purpose that suddenly we realized was there. And that was one of the things that so impressed me with your story is you've come to the realization purpose was there before you knew what it was.
Absolutely. I didn't know how to identify it, quantify it, or anything, but you helped me with that, and that's so key, and that's been pivotal for me.
Yeah.
So I would love it if we can share that with others, that maybe help someone.
Yeah.
I want to hear those stories.
Yeah, and then if you find your purpose, you get to go to the Grammys.
I don't know about all that.
And the Academy Awards, and just, and the White House. Well, I don't want to go there because then some may want to go, some may not. But no, significant things. Leadership.
Absolutely.
You mentioned leadership earlier. When you're in your purpose, you can't help but be a leader.
Yeah.
I'm at the airport. I'm a leader.
You're leading people. Absolutely.
And I'm just watching my luggage. But there's a dynamic. My friend in Africa becomes a leader in the agricultural community just by putting her hands in the dirt.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. You become a magnet.
You do.
It's attractive to you. That purpose will start bringing the things that you're supposed to do. Because, there were times I'd wonder, okay, so what am I supposed to do next?
Yeah.
But once I honed into what my purpose was, I didn't really have to. Because then it started coming to me. I got the phone calls. And like you, a lot of times I never put in a resume, never applied for anything. It was, oh, hey, we've got this going on. Can you come help us be a part of this?
Right.
And so it's from there. And then after that is before it expires, or you kind of sense when this feels like I'm probably doing as much as I can to help. Then the next door opens.
Yeah.
And then the next door.
Yeah, and that's been
Yeah.
my that's been my story, and I know it's yours. Excuse me, and we want it to be yours too, as
Exactly.
you're watching and listening with us.
Yeah.
Well, Stacy, this is going to be an exciting journey, isn't it?
Oh, I'm so super excited.
And so
Absolutely.
the next session, my idea, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think we maybe get into the book a little bit,
Absolutely,
some
yeah.
of the points that I made in the book, and then there's going to be another book coming, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
you and I are working, and I'm
We are.
excited to be working with
Yeah.
you.
Collaboration is
Yeah.
wonderful.
It really is, and
Yeah.
again, to have our picture together on the back cover will be a great honor. So let's stay tuned. We'll be back in the next session,
Yeah.
and we'll be talking a little bit more out of I wrote this book on purpose. So this is Dr. John Stanko and Dr. Stacy Merida, and we want to thank you for being with us today, and we look forward to being with you again soon.